This episode of Movie Trailer Trash is supported by Audible. Go to the link in our description. You can get a free 30-day trial of Audible and get 2 free audiobooks. And I looked it up earlier. You can get the first 2 books of the Han Solo trilogy and have them read to you. I saw they're only 3 hours long, so, that's a good thing to do in preparation for Solo, a Star Wars story. So, how do I end these things?
That's right, baby. It's time for Movie Trailer Trash. Enjoy.
Hello and welcome into Movie Trailer Trash. My name is Charlie.
And I'm Bethany.
And we just watched, well, not just watched. We watched a long time ago, we watched the trailer for Solo.
And we also just watched
And
it.
we just watched it.
Moments ago.
Now, we're a little late to the game on this one. It came out about a month ago.
Well, yeah, but I feel like we needed it to give it time to ruminate.
But there's been so much...
Actually, I was on vacation.
But that's also a good point, though, because
I
there
agree.
has been so much, talk about it and how, the directors were fired because they had creative differences. Apparently, the main guy who is playing Han Solo...
They said he did a terrible job.
They said the quote was, he can't act.
Which I don't believe to be true because he was hysterical in Hail Caesar. But
and
then
there
again,
was
in Hail Caesar, his whole thing was pretending he can't act. So
and there
maybe
were
he just can't act.
all of these reshoots and rewrites and the thing and everything was crazy. And then all of that comes around and then you get the actual final trailer, which of course everyone is going to say looks terrible because they're predetermined for that.
I guess, yeah. Is that what people said? Because I haven't read anything about it.
Well, the general consensus is that it looks mediocre at best.
Okay.
And most of the time, if a trailer looks mediocre, then the movie is probably really bad because they probably took all of the coolest parts.
Well,
now, that being said, there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue that was happening.
well, the fact that I didn't hear anything about it after probably is not a good sign either. It's not like after the trailer for this Last Jedi, just constant. Everywhere I looked, people were talking about it. People were rewatching it again and again. Like, that clearly didn't
Well,
happen
it's weird
here.
because obviously it's not as hyped as the trilogy movies. Obviously, there were all these problems with it. And also, even people who were Star Wars fans they didn't want this movie.
Nobody asked for this.
You know what I mean? So,
All anybody wanted ever was just to see Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian.
now,
They should have done a whole Lando movie.
Well, hold on, because I'm about to say something that. So first of all of that being said, all of that bad stuff being said, the actual trailer looks fun
yeah, I'm fine
and
with
good,
it.
and
Especially if I had never seen Star Wars.
people are
like if we'd never
upset-
seen Star Wars and we just went in.
people are upset
Yeah,
about
that's
how
fine.
it doesn't look like Star Wars, like how how Rogue One nailed the look of Star
Yeah,
Wars.
this doesn't.
It doesn't look like it, but I don't think that's necessarily
Well,
a
and
bad
also
thing.
it's
Who
not
cares?
supposed to be Star Wars.
Um,
This isn't the Resistance. This is a whole different part of the universe.
But
you know?
my thing is this trailer looks cool. I love the people who are in it. I think it's a cool mix of people that are who I all know to be funny, except for the girl from Game of Thrones. I don't know if she is.
yeah.
And I just wish that it wasn't all characters that we knew.
Yeah, it
if
would be
these
fun
were-
if it was just a different thing.
If these were all new characters that is like in the Star Wars universe, a band of thieves doing their own thing and whatever, then this movie would look awesome, I think.
Ooh, it would be like Firefly in the Star Wars universe.
Right, exactly.
Oh, that's like my dream. Well, here's the thing. Because I don't know, for all of you listening, if it's your first time listening, I love Firefly and Serenity. It's like one of my favorite things.
Most
and
people-
Star Wars,
I'm
also one of my favorite things.
Pretty much anyone who has seen it
If
likes
you see it, you like it. And I mean,
but not a lot of people have seen it.
but I mean, seriously, like it doesn't matter who you are, how old you are. Well, I mean, if you're really young, it's inappropriate, but you know what I mean.
If you're a baby,
I'm surprised by like all my different friends who wouldn't normally like sci-fi, who like this or whatever.
if you're
it's just
88
great.
years old,
Exactly. But okay, I digress. I agree that's what I was kind of saying about if we didn't know that this was Star Wars or if we had never seen Star Wars before, this would look fun.
right?
But that being said, that last scene where they're flying and the thing has all the tentacles looks to me like the same quality of like Sharknado.
Well, yeah, but
It's such a terrible
it's
quality.
It's a big tentacle monster or whatever.
Well,
the
yeah.
thing is that like all of the different stuff in it
quality's
looks
bad.
fun. The little land speeder races, the little hover car races, the robot that salutes Donald Glover. That's awesome.
I didn't even see
the
that.
weird the little guy that is like one of the co-pilots. And Woody Harrelson is great.
So
Donald Glover is
I have
amazing.
a question. Did they do a teaser trailer during the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Because I
was
feel like this
45
was not the one I
seconds.
saw. Okay, the one I saw, I just remember it like at the end it started to zoom out or like zoom in from far away, and then you just see Donald Glover in the like in his like cape like thing, just standing there, and Logan or my brother and I, just looked at each other. And we're like, well, we're gonna see that.
Now everyone
Like-
knows your brother's name.
Crap. But like seriously, it's. We were like, it's not that it's gonna be great,
But
but
see,
I'm gonna see Donald Glover being Lando Calrissian. He looked amazing.
I feel like Donald Glover is made worse by having to play Lando Calrissian.
Why?
Because
It's fun to see great actors play roles try to become something that already exists.
I
Like
guess.
that's why movies about real life stories are interesting when you see the actor like become that person.
Well, that's a little different than doing an impression of a character from 40
yeah, you're
years
so
ago.
so you're telling me Lando Calrissian isn't
He's just
re-
going to be
real
doing
life?
he's going to be doing a Billy D. Williams impression, and it would be hilarious if it was like a sketch on Community, like a bit on Community.
Sure, but that's the thing. It doesn't matter. It might be stupid that they made a whole movie of it, but just like the sketches on Community, I'm going to love it. Like think about this. We've been watching Community, so we always bring whatever we're watching
Well,
into
and
the
this is Donald
show.
Glover. He is
Yes.
known for that.
So we've been watching Community recently, and there was an episode where they basically very quickly recapped all of the Karate Kid, and some of the characters in it in the show were doing the play. And afterwards, I was like, that makes me really want to watch Karate Kid. And Charlie said that makes me really want to watch Karate Kid with Professor Chang as the lead, like the whole
And
thing,
not the actor, the character
Yeah.
Chang as the lead
And-
in the movie in the real world.
And so that's the thing is like those sketches are super fun. Why not watch a whole movie of it?
But
But okay, one more thing before you talk.
oh, wow, okay.
No, one more thing. Okay, that girl that you said was
Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones.
Khaleesi?
She could literally, her and Rey and Jyn Erso could just be completely swapped and nobody would know. It would be like a magic trick.
Like the actors?
Yeah, they picked girls that are the same, probably the same height, the same waist measurement, the same color skin, the same color hair, the same British accent. Why? Why are all of the women in the Star Wars universe British now?
Except for Carrie Fisher.
Except for Rose.
Rose.
Rose from
Oh,
The
yeah,
Last
yeah.
Jedi.
Yeah.
American
American.
Asian
No,
American.
America isn't around yet.
Well, yeah, but the actress. But that's what I'm saying, though. Like, what? Why? It seems really silly to me that they chose someone that looked like her, and maybe she was just the best actress for the part. Like, I get it. Sometimes that happens.
Well, she's a big deal.
It just seems kind of lame that they picked someone. I mean, they didn't even try and make her look different. She looks just like Jyn Erso and just like Rey.
Maybe that's, maybe there's a female farm in the Star Wars universe
Yeah,
where they
that
all
we
come,
don't know
where
about.
they all come from.
Here's the thing. I think that the Daisy Ridley does an amazing job. I think the lady that plays
Because
Jyn
Leia-
Erso does an amazing job as
Leia
well.
would have had a British accent if she was raised by her. Oh no, wait, she's not British.
No,
Why does she seem British in my mind?
I don't know.
Natalie Portman, Queen Amidala. Why does she seem British? Is it because they give
It's
her that
because Keira
weird
Knightley,
Shakespearean?
who played her the double. She played Queen Amidala when Padme was being Padme.
Uh-huh.
So she was the, what do you call that? When you're like there, you're the decoy. So Keira Knightley played the decoy Queen Amidala. Okay.
Yeah.
And sorry guys, I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm kind of nasally tonight. Had to say that. So she plays the decoy. And she very frequent. Well, first of all, she is British. Second of all, she very frequently plays like super like old-timey British roles.
I think they gave her
So that's why you think of that.
weird Shakespearean dialogue, and that's why I think that.
Queen Amidala, though.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
of them.
Well, yeah. Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying it's weird. I mean,
Whereas
it's
Carrie
fine.
Fisher's, Princess Leia was like,
Yeah.
"Meh, meh,
She was
meh,
awesome.
meh."
She was
That's my
so
impression
she
of
was
that.
so American though. Like she was like
Yeah.
I wish I knew one of her quotes off the top of my head when she's like yelling at Han. You know,
Scruffy looking nerf herder.
you scruffy looking nerf. Nope, I
Nope,
can't do
nerf.
it. Nerf. I screwed up immediately.
Scruffy looking nerf herder.
Another thing for new listeners, I
Disable the vehicle.
suck at imitating voices.
All right. Anyway, there's the directors. The original directors of this movie were supposed to be Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
Okay, which they did what
They did
in the future? Or I mean, in the past.
in the future. I don't know. I'm not positive, but they did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Ooh, I love that movie.
They did 21 Jump Street
I love that movie.
and 22 Jump Street.
I love that movie.
And they are the executive producers for Last Man on Earth,
oh my god.
which is why the character's
Why did
name
they
is
quit?
that's why the character's name is Phil Miller, is because it's Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
Why did they quit?
Well, they quit because of creative differences. They wanted to do a more improv-y kind of
Hilarious
atmosphere.
thing?
Yeah,
They wanted to be hilarious. Let's be real. Everything that you just named is amazing.
Yes.
Especially Last Man on Earth.
Especially. and so when they left, then they parted ways. I think that they were fired. When they got canned, they brought on Ron Howard to try and, ease
Boo.
everybody because he's very, very famous.
Look, I have no problem with Ron Howard, honestly. But this is the guy who made the Whale movie, making a fun Star Wars movie when we had the people who made all those fun movies and you kicked them out.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
how-
all of Ron Howard's movies, well, not all of them, but the ones that are good are really, really good. But you're right, they are not
Okay,
funny.
so name a few, though.
Apollo 13,
Oh, yeah, that's
A
good.
Beautiful Mind,
Never seen that one.
Backdraft.
I don't know how I never saw A Beautiful Mind. I feel like everyone I know has seen it.
There's that movie Rush, the one about
Rush.
racing.
Oh, yeah, I never saw that. But
I
see,
heard that
all
was
of
really
those-
good.
But all of those are just like
Right.
not funny.
Right.
Not really that interesting. How is it going to be funny? I mean, okay, he's directing it, right?
Uh-huh. And he's directing it
So
basically
who
when it's
wrote
already done.
That's what I'm
Well-
saying. So who wrote it?
It's kind of hard to say because the writers that are credited, right? One of them is Lawrence Kasdan. I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
And his writing credits include Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Star Wars The Force Awakens. So he's one of the original writers.
Cool. So, but you're saying maybe he's just credited.
And the other
that's
writer
a scary thing.
that is credited, his name is John Kasdan, Lawrence's son,
Oh.
who has,
Oh.
to my recollection, there was one movie on there that I'd never heard of, and there was one episode of Freaks and Geeks, and that's basically it.
Okay.
And so I think that Johnny Boy has been given this movie, and his dad is there to oversee.
To make sure he doesn't screw it up.
Right.
Perhaps. Okay.
And
well,
also, I have a feeling that it's being partially written by the studio as well at this point.
but think about this
And,
though. When you said that, I was going to be like, that's a problem because sometimes if you had anything to do with the original, then your name is on it. Like how Zack Snyder's name is on Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and I double checked. It just
Um,
It wasn't just like characters by or whatever.
So it said writer. Well, that's good, is
It's
what
that
I'm saying.
screenplay.
That's good because I'm saying like all those other movies were good, and so if all the original Star Wars movies and whatnot, Force Awakens, and if he was helping his son, I would assume since it's his son, he'd just be like, "This is bad. We're cutting this." Like
Well, I mean, yeah, but you can always
So-
have a Max Landis, John Landis situation.
I don't know what that means.
People can look it up.
Okay. So, interesting. As far as just the trailer and the way it looks, so we talked a little bit about the characters. I mean, there are definitely some good actors.
Oh, and I have a great idea.
Okay.
So if you made this not characters that we've seen before in the Star Wars universe, right? You can still tie in Han Solo a little bit because you can have. So they're doing this race, I think, right at the end. That's what's happening is he's doing the race that he talks about, the Kessel Run. And I think that if you had the group, the main focus is just a group of people that are thieves, that are cool characters, that are running around doing stuff, and they're doing the Kessel Run at the very end, and they're going through, and they're winning, or whatever is happening,
Yeah.
they're in front, and then at the very last second, you see the Millennium Falcon fly by their window outside of them, and they're just like, what was that? And it was the Millennium Falcon that flies by, and it
Yeah.
wins.
Okay. So if they could just back up and let you write it.
Yeah, let me write it, but just that part.
Okay, so as far as like people saying that it looked bad, I think that the CGI with the tentacle monster looked terrible. But in fairness, all of the like creatures and stuff in the originals don't look good. We just kind of accept it because back then they didn't have CGI.
I'm really excited
like,
about that robot.
Okay, but hang on. I'm talking about
robot.
the tentacle monster right now.
Okay.
So, okay. Remember the worm-looking thing that almost eats them?
The Sarlacc? Or no, the thing where they land inside of its throat.
Yes, they land inside of its tongue or whatever, on its tongue. It's funny because a lot of people were hating on The Last Jedi, and Charlie and I both loved it because it was great. But we listened to a podcast pretty soon after we watched that movie, The Last Jedi, and people were talking about how like, oh, this is so terrible because of this and that, and people were like, not all of the originals were perfect. I mean, I seem to recall a part where they almost got eaten by a giant worm. Like, it's not all like genius, brilliant work, It's just overall when you're looking at the big picture, it's great.
Right.
There's still moments. It's not perfect, but it's fun, and you don't care. So if this is really fun, who cares that the tentacle monster looks bad, right?
Yeah, maybe we'll get to see who taught Han Solo to shoot like he's fencing.
Yeah. Well, however, the thing is, people nowadays expect such high quality in their CGI that they aren't able to enjoy something really fun if they're CGI. Because lots of people didn't like Wonder Woman because there was some bad CGI at the end. It wasn't even necessarily bad CGI. It was just too much CGI. And I'm like, how on earth do you care? Like, this is a great movie. So
that's mostly because, and we won't get into it,
yeah.
but that's mostly because people were upset because it was so close. And then it turned into a DC.
And I get that.
It turned into a DCEU movie right at the end there.
And I get that, but I'm just saying, like, I would like to think that people can let little things slide if it's a good movie otherwise, but apparently people can't.
Right.
But okay. Tentacle Monster, you were saying the robot looks cool. I feel like I have to watch it again. I don't really remember the robot.
I have a feeling that that's the extent of the robot's appearance.
Yeah.
But
no, probably not, because think about
Lando Calrissian and a robot saluting simultaneously. That's fun.
But think about how much of a role the robot in Rogue One played.
Yeah.
He was like a major character.
I feel like
and
we're saying robot
and
we should be saying droid.
Sorry.
But whatever.
So but the droids in the
care.
Original as well?
Yes.
Like, I mean, every movie, there is a very important droid, usually.
First half of the first movie is well, not the first half, but the first, 20
a
minutes or
large
so
part of it.
are from the droid's point of view.
Yeah, and we have, whole scenes that are just droids talking to each other in the desert.
There you go. That's
Can
your
you
next
believe
next
that?
spin-off movie. Droids, a Star Wars story.
That's crazy that they got away with a whole scene of just two robots talking to each other.
Droids.
In the desert.
These are the droids you're looking for. And it's like a wacky, goofy, road trip movie.
Oh my gosh, that would be a hilarious sketch. Okay, so we talked about how it looks a little bit. What about his portrayal of Han Solo, the character? Just based I know you said there wasn't very many lines.
It doesn't look like Han Solo or sound like Han Solo.
I think he looks okay. But I'm like, why would they not have a speech person, expert, work with him to sound like Han Solo?
They did. He just can't do it.
Listen, I don't know how to sound like Han Solo.
No, the real question...
I've told you I can't do accents, but why?
The real question is, why didn't they hold auditions for people who
were
able to sound like Han Solo
instead
of just grabbing the first guy that had a contract with you? You know
yeah,
what I mean?
It is weird because here's the thing. I like that guy in Hail Caesar, but like I said, he was a small role and he was playing a guy who can't act.
He was really funny in it, though.
He was really funny. And so when I heard he was doing this, I was excited, but I feel like Han Solo has a very specific way of talking. Like I said, I can't imitate it necessarily, but even when you think of Leia, even though it's just like an American accent, it's not anything special. She's still, you could think of the cadence she has, the way that she talks, the way she yells and gets mad. And
I think that
same thing with Han Solo.
This is a good example. I think this is the first one of these new age Star Wars movies that the studio freaked out.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what though? I remember talking about Rogue One and worrying about it.
Oh, right, because they kind of reshot the whole
They
thing.
had to reshoot a whole bunch.
Well, not the whole thing, but a lot of it.
And we were really, really worried. And that is probably one of my top 3 favorite Star Wars movies.
But this one,
which
they
is
were
insane.
they were
Because there's a lot of
determined
those movies.
to get this out on time. Whereas Rogue One, they
were able to
delayed
push it back.
Yeah,
Well, they might have screwed up bad.
maybe.
Maybe they didn't.
But even if they did, no one will care.
So, on that note, do you want to talk about where, when, and how we're going to see this movie?
I do.
Where? When? How?
Are you gonna see this movie? All right, so where, when, and how we're gonna see this movie. I think that I will probably end up seeing this movie in the theater. There's a good chance, unless it's like this is the worst movie ever. No one go and see this. But I could totally see going to see this in the theater.
Do
Just
you know what
because.
month it's coming out? By chance?
No, let me check.
All right, you check on that. I could see seeing it in the theater as well, but I feel like it has to at least get 60%. If it gets below 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, then I'll probably wait for it to come out on DVD or streaming.
May 25th.
Oh, yeah, that's a good time to watch a movie.
Yeah, that's almost
mean-
That's a full month after Avengers.
Hopefully by then we'll have Movie Pass.
Hopefully.
Because I
Although
definitely don't
there,
think we need to see this on opening weekend by any means.
A lot of Movie Pass controversy happening right now.
What?
Apparently, they track
You're spending?
your location to and from your theater.
What do you mean by that? How? It's a card, not a phone.
Well, you have an app.
What if you turn the app off? What if your location isn't on your phone?
That is nothing. That is nothing. You can't just turn it off and then you're blocking everything from everyone.
What do you mean?
They apparently track your location to and from the theater so that they can figure out which theaters people are going to the most at a certain
fine,
location.
But also, like, that's just like any type of advertising. They're just using it to try and advertise better.
And like the CEO was just like
I'm
wasn't trying to hide anything.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that. But the only thing is, how do they know that you're going to the theater?
So they probably just track it all the time. And then when you do go to the theater, then they know.
That whoever has that job is bored to tears. They are just sitting there crying, just watching this screen of maps. Of
I have a
people
feeling
not
it's-
going to the theater.
I have a feeling it's probably a droid.
What? You don't think it's a human person looking at a bunch of maps?
These are the droids you're
Oh
looking
my
for.
gosh. Okay. Okay, hang on. Okay. I apologize. So here's the thing. Okay, we're gonna see it in theater, let's say.
Okay.
If we had Movie Pass, I think that would be a good one to see, because the thing with Movie Pass is you can see it opening weekend if you want, but you have to go to the theater and buy the tickets. So chances are you're not going to see it opening
I think that
weekend.
Movie Pass will give us a new category. I think that we'll have
A Movie Pass category.
don't see it, streaming, rent, Movie Pass.
Well, yeah, because
buy.
here's the thing.
Buy tickets.
Here's the thing. This is a movie that it's okay if we see it a week or two late. And so Movie
Yeah.
Pass is perfect. But if it's like Infinity Wars, I don't care if I have Movie Pass. I'm still going to pay the extra to just
That's what I'm saying.
book my seats.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that sucks about Movie Pass is like you can't just book your seats in advance. You have to go to the theater. But whatevs.
But you could go to the theater in the morning and then
Yeah, but it's a
Get
risk.
tickets,
For
you know.
really, really popular movies, it's a
think.
risk. It's just a risk.
Okay, so let's move on to the Rotten Tomatoes percentages. We're both going to see it in the theater, and we're going to have a good time doing it, unless it sucks. So let's see if it will.
Okay.
Rotten Tomatoes percentages.
Okay, so I think that this movie will do okay. I've been impressed with all of the other movies. Like, I was surprised by Rogue One. I loved The Force Awakens, and then I really loved The Last Jedi. So I think we will be surprised that this, even though there's been all this trouble, I think it'll still be a good movie, at least a fun movie. So I'm going to give it a 74% by critics, which I think is pretty fair for a movie that, like you said, nobody wanted. Nobody asked for this movie. So getting a 74% is pretty good. I think the audience will have mixed reviews because people are haters, man. It's like they've pictured this, especially this one. So nobody really wanted this movie, but for the huge fans, they have probably imagined in their head how Han Solo won the Castle Run. Or is it the Castle Run?
Castle Rock.
Oh my gosh. Okay. They've probably pictured him winning the Millennium Falcon.
Fraggle Rock.
I can't say Millennium Falcon because my nose is too stuffy.
The Falcon?
It's sad. But anyway, they have probably pictured this and they're going to be like, it's not like I pictured. What? You didn't look into my mind's eye and perfectly replicate it on the screen? Boo! So I imagine that it could get a worse score. I'll say 64%. Just give it a good 10 points off for fans being too emotional and not thinking about the movie as a standalone.
I think that it will get way less. I over-exaggerated my way. I put too many A's in my way. I think that the critics will give this a 63%. I think the audience will give it a 55%. I think that the audience is just already primed to hate it. Just mostly because they don't even want it in the first place. And I think that the best thing that this movie could possibly be is fun. And usually movies like that get in the mid-60s.
Well, I will tell you this. If it gets in the 60s or above, if it gets 60 or above from the critics, I'll still go see it in theater. I don't care even if it has like a 30 from audience. Because I can't trust Star Wars fans. Because if you don't like The Last Jedi, nothing will ever please you ever again. That was one of the better made movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
All the way through. I mean, I thought The Force Awakens was good, but then I thought about it later and was like, oh yeah, there were several flaws. I can't tell you. After all the time and all the articles I read, I still don't get it. I don't get how you couldn't love that movie. So, from now on, as
it
long
got
as
lower
the
than
critics
the
like
prequels.
yeah, that's
from
ridiculous.
audience.
And I've heard people say the prequels were better. Okay, well, you know what?
You're a maniac.
You're a maniac.
Go back
you're
and watch
upset,
those.
And you're
Oh
being
my
a bum.
God.
I bet you those people who say that couldn't even sit through the second one.
Me and my brother
Episode 2, I bet they'd turn it off. They'd
watched-
be like, nope, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
watched the Drunk Disney of episode 1, which is a YouTube show, and they drink and watch movies, and it's funny. But we watched that we watched that episode of The Phantom Menace, and even with it all cut up, it was like, this is so boring. You don't remember just how boring it is, because you remember the lightsaber fight with Darth Maul,
Yeah.
which even though, that's the best part of it, it's still whatever. It's fine.
It's just,
It's like
it's fun because of the music. The music's what makes that scene amazing.
You should watch it again sometime and just realize how terrible all the green screen is all around them.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and then also there's the pod racing, which is like, some stupid part during it.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is just nothing. It's
Yeah.
just talking the whole time. It's absolutely
Well,
nothing.
there's a lot of just dialogue in the original Star Wars, but it's funny and...
Not really. There's kind of just going from the very beginning.
But they're constantly talking
It
also.
starts in Darth Vader taking over that ship.
Okay. So, yeah. But episode 2 is like the absolute worst thing in the world. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, like, okay, so a couple years ago when Force Awakens came out, I started looking up a bunch of old scenes to see, like, how bad was it really? And so at first I was just looking up Natalie Portman's scenes to see how terrible she was. And it was so, I mean, there was a scene where it was like the first scene where they like hinted that they liked each other. And it was the most painful thing I've watched. It was like a 3-minute clip. And I was like, how did this make it into the movie?
By the way, the kid that was Anakin was supposed to be like 15 years old. And they just liked that kid so much that they made him a little kid.
Yeah, dumb. He wasn't even that good. How? What?
George Lucas was like in love with him.
He must have reminded him of a kid he knew once. It was just like some...
Hey,
well,
you remind
hang
me
on.
of a kid from my
Think
block.
about it. Tell me for a second. George Lucas, did he do the Indiana Jones movies?
Yeah.
He put his one wife in that movie and she was terrible.
No, Steven Spielberg.
Oh, boop.
But
I was
yeah,
wrong.
whatever. Same.
Okay, the same thing though. Like
No,
you're
but
just
he
like,
was
there's
like
something about you. And
he was
you're
like
not a good
obsessed with
actor.
that kid because when he auditioned, he was like,
Oh, he liked that part where he was like, I don't know. I was gonna. There was some quote that she.
"Are
that
you an
people-
angel?"
Oh yeah, there you go. There's some quote that people always do.
Laser sword.
There we go. Oh, laser sword. I've seen one of those before. I know what that is. That's a laser sword. Okay, anyway. Okay, but the movies are terrible. They're just awful. And so after I saw a bunch of the awful romance scenes, I was like, okay, well, let's at least look up the cool lightsaber scenes, because I know there were some of those. And yeah, the green screen, especially in the third movie, when Anakin is fighting Obi-Wan on the lava planet, I feel like I could make a scene that is just as high of quality if we got a green sheet and put it up against the wall. And I've never done anything with any type of CGI. It was the worst. It was, oh my God, so bad. So, I mean, they were figuring it out. They've figured it out. Things are better now, except for that tentacle monster.
Well, we'll see.
So,
that may have been...
Yeah, I mean, but anyway, the point is, if people don't like The Last Jedi, they will never be pleased again. They've decided in their mind that nothing can ever be as good as the originals, and or even, like, it doesn't have to be better than. It's just its own thing. You can enjoy it. So,
well,
whatever.
Obviously, hopefully, I think that this Solo movie would be better than the prequels. At the very least, there's a lot of running around and, shooting, saluting droids, and that's fun.
Donald Glover is in it.
Glover is in it, though I think he'll be underutilized because he won't be able to create his own character. He'll just be doing an impression the whole time. But hey, that's more of a personal opinion. I'm sure that everyone's very excited about this.
Well, think about this, though. Lando Calrissian doesn't have much of a personality in the originals. Like
Lando Calrissian.
He's not in enough of it.
He's Billy D. He's supposed to be that guy. Like, that actor is like a famous personality.
But that's what's cool, is now Donald Glover gets to try and act like
Stay cool,
that actor.
baby.
And I think that that's cool. And I think that we know so little about him that Donald Glover could easily be perfectly utilized. Because I think that he has the chance to take a character that we know a little bit about and kind of give us a little more background, give us a little more stuff.
We do know he's a grifter.
Oh my gosh.
He is.
Ridiculous.
He is. He's a grifter. They're all grifters. This movie should be called Solo, a grifter story.
A grifter story. Yeah, that would work. I mean, the whole...
Yeah, I'm into that. All right.
The whole flip around where he was like, oh, crap, you didn't know Darth Vader was going to be sitting at the table. It was like, really, Lando?
Come on, Lando.
I can't with you right now. I trusted you.
But you know what you can do is you can follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to our iTunes podcast.
Just to our podcast
you
on
can
iTunes.
Rate and review us on iTunes.
Please
and
do.
Other places probably. You can go to Facebook, Movie Trailer Trash Podcast. You can go to our website, mttpodcast.com. We have an Instagram at Movie Trailer Trash. I know it's confusing with all these have different names, but you'll figure it out.
You can find us.
Yeah.
If you try MTT Podcast and it doesn't come up, try Movie Trailer Trash Podcast. You'll find us.
Yeah, what are you, an idiot?
We're out there. Or just go to our website, mttpodcast.com, and everything's on there.
Everything is there.
You can find all of our links to social media. You can find our link to iTunes. If you want to rate and review, please do, because that helps us out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And tell your friends about us.
Tell your friends.
If you're interested, click on the Audible link and,
yes,
try them out.
We forgot to do that.
Yeah, we'll do it. But for this one, this will be the first introducing.
Yeah.
We are now using Audible? No. Okay, you explain, Charlie. You know that book reader?
Yes. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, you can use our little special link to go get a free 30-day trial of Audible that also comes with 2 free audiobooks. And so that's a little fun thing that's happening now.
Because you like to listen
to
things. You're listening to us.
Yeah, they got all those Harry Potter books on there.
Oh, they're so good.
I
love
wouldn't be
those Harry
surprised
Potter books.
if there's some of the Star Wars novels on there. Maybe there are.
Probably. And I'm on like number 6 for the Harry Potter. So
there you go.
Got to get into
Maybe
it.
you can catch up to Bethany.
Try and catch up to me.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Hear you next time. No, you'll hear us next time.
Bye.